So this week on Can You Solve It, we're going to talk about the murderer who removed his victim's hand. So this story happened in South Korea in 2001. A body of a high school student was found in an under construction building. When police investigate, there were no signs of trauma or struggle were evident. And around the area, there were also no blood. So people think that there's a possibility that the body has been moved there after the victim was killed. The victim's belongings, like her phone and her wallet, is still with her, so it leads investigator to rule out robbery as a motive. Notably, only the victim's hand were missing, adding a gruesome and puzzling element to the case. So they found the body at this sketchy construction place, and the victim was left there without her hands, like without both her hands. So this makes the police think what is going on. So the story became a news in South Korea, and people were also wondering what happened to the poor girl. So the victim was identified as 18-year-old So-yoon. She was a high school student who was working part-time on the night she was killed. Friends and family describe her as a very responsible, well-behaved individual with no one, like without any known enemies or conflict. So they couldn't pinpoint who would have been the person to, hurt her. The victim, So-yoon, was last seen at the store where she was working part-time. So she was last seen there at around 8:20 p.m. before she left for the day. There were no CCTV cameras in or around the place that she worked. It makes it difficult for police to track her movement after she left work. There's also no eyewitnesses who came forward with information about seeing So-yoon after she left the store. A day later, in March 9th of 2001, a man discovered two floating objects in a nearby river where she works while collecting water for his car. At first, he thought that it's a mannequin that someone had thrown away in the river, because he actually saw that they were two floating hands. So he thought it was part of a mannequin that someone threw out into the river, because it was so pale. The two hands that he saw was so pale. But then after looking at it carefully, he realized that it's actually a pair of hands, and they were human hands. So he immediately called the police, and the police came to identify who the hands belonged to. So DNA analysis confirmed the hands belonged to So-yoon. The discovery of the hands in a separate location from where So-yoon's body was found suggested that the killer might have attempted to dispose of the evidence. At the scene, investigators also found an axe stained with So-yoon's blood. The presence of the axe indicated that it was likely the murder weapon. A pen was found at the scene, given as a branded free gift during a car company's promotion. That also become one of the crucial evidence in this case. So the police then focused on the suspect who had access to the under construction building, because they found So-yoon's body in a place where normal people or the general public could not enter. So they mostly focus on the construction site's workers, maybe a security where, they have easy access to the area. So the focus was on individuals who had the opportunity to be at both the construction site and also the location where the hands were found. However, despite identifying a suspect who had access to the construction site, there was insufficient evidence to make an arrest. The lack of CCTV footage, no eyewitness, and no additional forensic evidence made it very challenging for the police to actually find someone who could be the murderer or the kidnapper. So far, the investigation faced numerous dead ends, no significant breakthrough, no new evidence, and no new eyewitness. So since 2001 until today, how many years has it been? 23 years. 23 years? Yeah, for 23 years. Since 2001 until today, the case eventually went cold. There were no tips and no re-examinations of evidence could help the police to find the suspect. So the case have remained one of South Korea's unsolved cases.